Respected, before you believe that intimacy is only about physical attraction, let me share something that has changed the lives of countless couples. The greatest secret behind a fulfilling bedroom is not beauty, youth, or perfection. It is understanding what often remains unspoken. Many women carry silent desires in their hearts, not because they are complicated, but because they fear being misunderstood, judged, or ignored. If you truly want to strengthen your relationship and build a deeper emotional bond, stay with me until the very end, because what you're about to hear may transform not only your intimate life, but your entire relationship. There is something fascinating about human relationships that few people truly understand. As a urologist, I have spent years listening to people speak about concerns they have never shared with anyone else. Many conversations begin with physical symptoms, but after a few minutes, they become conversations about loneliness, disappointment, fear, and love. What surprises most people is that many bedroom problems are not actually bedroom problems at all. They begin long before two people enter the same room. I remember meeting a gentleman who had been married for more than 30 years. He walked into the clinic, convinced something was physically wrong with him because his relationship with his wife had become distant. After every medical examination, everything appeared normal. His health was good. His body was functioning well. Then I asked him a simple question. When was the last time you truly listened to your wife without trying to solve her problems? He became silent. After a long pause, he smiled sadly and admitted he couldn't remember. That moment changed the direction of our conversation. You see, many men spend years trying to become better providers, stronger protectors, and harder workers. They believe that love is measured by sacrifice and responsibility. Those things absolutely matter. But many women quietly hope for something else that often receives far less attention. They want to feel emotionally safe. This may sound simple, yet it is one of the strongest foundations of genuine intimacy. Emotional safety means being able to speak honestly without fear of criticism. It means sharing insecurities without being laughed at. It means knowing that tears are not considered weakness and silence is not ignored. When a woman feels emotionally secure, trust begins to grow naturally. Trust creates comfort. Comfort creates closeness. And closeness often becomes the strongest form of attraction. Many people believe attraction begins with appearance. In reality, lasting attraction often begins with understanding. Imagine two gardens. One receives constant attention. The soil is cared for. The plants are watered. The flowers bloom naturally. The other is neglected. Even the finest seeds struggle to survive. Relationships work much the same way. Intimacy is not something that magically appears. It grows where emotional care exists every single day. Many women never directly ask for emotional reassurance because they worry it will sound needy. Instead, they quietly hope their partner notices the small signs: the tired smile, the hesitation before speaking, the unusually quiet dinner, the simple question, "How was your day?" Sometimes these moments are actually invitations, not invitations for advice, not invitations for solutions, simply invitations to feel seen. One elderly couple once shared something unforgettable with me. They had celebrated 50 years of marriage. Someone asked the husband what secret had kept their relationship alive for so many decades. People expected him to mention vacations, gifts, or financial stability. Instead, he smiled and said, "I never stopped trying to understand the woman I married because every stage of life introduced a new version of her." What remarkable wisdom. People grow, dreams change, bodies change, responsibilities change. Yet many relationships suffer because partners expect each other to remain exactly the same forever. Understanding is not something achieved once. It is a lifelong journey. Women often carry invisible emotional burdens. They worry about family. They think about children. They care for aging parents. They balance work responsibilities. They remember birthdays. They plan holidays. They notice details that many people overlook. When someone finally recognizes those invisible efforts, it creates a feeling that words can barely describe. Feeling appreciated is deeply attractive. Not because appreciation flatters the ego, Because appreciation tells someone, I see you. Every human heart longs to be seen. One woman once shared something during a counseling discussion that stayed with me. She said, I don't need expensive surprises. I just want him to notice when I'm struggling before I have to beg for help. That sentence carries extraordinary meaning. Many women are not asking for perfection. They are hoping for presence. Presence means putting away distractions for a few moments, making eye contact, listening carefully, remembering conversations, holding a hand without any special occasion, offering a genuine hug after a difficult day. These actions appear ordinary, yet over years, they become extraordinary. The strongest relationships are rarely built through dramatic moments. They are built through thousands of small moments that quietly communicate love. There is another truth many couples discover too late. People often assume intimacy begins at bedtime. It doesn't. It begins with the conversations during breakfast. It continues through respectful messages during the day. It grows through kindness after disagreements. It strengthens through patience during stressful seasons. By evening, intimacy is simply the reflection of everything that happened before. This is why some couples feel incredibly close without saying many words, while others feel emotionally miles apart despite sharing the same house. Connection cannot be switched on like a light. It is cultivated. There is a beautiful lesson from nature. A tree that develops deep roots survives powerful storms. Another tree with shallow roots may appear healthy for a while, but eventually strong winds expose its weakness. Relationships are no different. Physical attraction alone cannot support decades together. Emotional roots can. And those roots are strengthened through trust, empathy, patience, respect, and sincere communication. If there is one lesson I hope every listener remembers today, it is this. Many women are not searching for someone who knows every answer. They are searching for someone who is willing to understand the questions hidden behind their silence. That willingness creates safety. Safety creates openness. Openness creates connection. And genuine connection is where lasting intimacy truly begins. As that conversation ended, the gentleman who had been married for more than 3 decades thanked me with tears in his eyes. A few months later, he returned. Not because he needed another medical evaluation, but because he wanted to share what had happened. He told me, "Doctor, nothing changed overnight. I didn't buy expensive gifts. I didn't plan a luxury vacation. I simply started paying attention." He began asking his wife how she was feeling, and instead of interrupting with advice, he listened. He noticed when she looked exhausted. He thanked her for the countless things she did without expecting recognition. Slowly, the distance between them began to disappear. That story reminds us of another truth that many women quietly hope their partners will understand. They want to feel genuinely desired, not merely expected. At first, those two ideas may sound almost identical, but emotionally, they are worlds apart. Feeling expected can sometimes feel like being part of a routine. It becomes predictable, mechanical, almost like another responsibility on an endless list. Feeling desired, however, means knowing that your partner still looks at you with admiration, curiosity, and affection. It means believing that the connection is about far more than habit. Many women never say this aloud because they fear sounding insecure. They wonder whether asking for reassurance will make them appear needy. Instead, they remain silent, hoping their partner will naturally express affection. Unfortunately, silence often creates misunderstanding. One person assumes everything is fine because there are no complaints. The other silently waits for words that never come. Over time, that quiet gap grows larger. Think about the beginning of most relationships. People notice everything. A different hairstyle, a new dress, a smile, the excitement in someone's voice. Even tiny details become meaningful because attention is naturally focused on one another. Years later, responsibilities multiply. Careers become demanding. Children require attention. Bills accumulate. Parents grow older. Schedules become overwhelming. Without realizing it, couples sometimes begin treating each other like teammates, managing daily responsibilities rather than two people deeply in love. Teamwork is important, But romance also needs nourishment. A sincere compliment can have incredible power, not because it flatters appearance alone, but because it tells someone, "I still notice you." Imagine watering a beautiful flower only once a year. Would anyone expect it to remain vibrant? Relationships need encouragement just as flowers need water. Kind words, gentle smiles, unexpected affection, simple gratitude. These are emotional nutrients that help love continue growing. One woman once described something remarkably simple. She said her favorite moment of the day was not during dinner or while watching television together. It happened when her husband looked away from his phone, smiled warmly, and greeted her as though he were genuinely happy she had entered the room. That moment lasted only seconds, yet to her, it meant everything. Why? Because everyone longs to feel welcomed by the person they love most. Another desire many women quietly carry is the hope that intimacy never feels rushed. Modern life constantly pushes people to move faster. Faster work, faster communication, faster meals, faster decisions. Unfortunately, that same pace often enters relationships. Many couples unknowingly approach moments of closeness as another task to complete before tomorrow begins. But meaningful connection rarely grows in a hurry. Imagine sitting beside a peaceful lake just before sunrise. Nothing beautiful happens instantly. The light slowly changes. The colors gradually emerge. The stillness invites calm. Human emotions often unfold in the same gentle way. Women frequently experience emotional connection before physical closeness feels meaningful. They may need time to relax, laugh, talk, or simply feel emotionally present. This is not about complexity. It reflects how emotional comfort and physical intimacy are often closely connected. Many men misunderstand this difference. They assume attraction has disappeared. In reality, emotional stress may simply be standing in the way. Stress affects everyone. Financial worries, family responsibilities, health concerns, exhaustion, unfinished conversations. All these things can quietly occupy the mind. One patient explained it beautifully. He said, "Doctor, I finally realized my wife wasn't rejecting me. She was carrying the weight of an entire week on her shoulders." That realization completely changed his perspective. Instead of becoming frustrated, he became supportive. Instead of demanding attention, he created peace. And peace opened the door to closeness. There is another lesson that deserves careful attention. Many women deeply appreciate gentle communication about intimacy itself. This surprises many people because couples often assume that love automatically teaches partners everything they need to know. It doesn't. Every individual is different. Every relationship evolves. Every stage of life brings new experiences. The couple who communicated comfortably at 25 may need entirely different conversations at 45 or 65. Bodies change. Confidence changes. Health changes. Energy changes. Yet many people avoid these conversations because they feel awkward. Ironically, avoiding the discussion usually creates greater discomfort than having it. One mature couple developed an unusual habit. Once every month, they spent one evening simply talking about their relationship. They discussed what had gone well. They shared what made them feel appreciated. They gently mentioned anything that had caused emotional distance. There was no blame, no shouting, no competition, only honesty. Over the years, that habit protected their marriage from countless misunderstandings. Small conversations prevented enormous problems. Another quiet desire many women carry is the hope that vulnerability will be met with kindness. Imagine revealing your deepest fears to someone, perhaps concerns about aging, changes in appearance, feeling less attractive, fear of rejection. These are incredibly personal emotions. Responding with patience rather than criticism creates tremendous emotional security. Kindness has extraordinary healing power. It reminds another person that they are accepted, even in moments of uncertainty. A husband once shared something that transformed his marriage. He stopped trying to prove he was always right. Instead, he started asking one question whenever disagreements arose. "Help me understand how you're feeling." Those 7 words accomplished more than hours of arguing ever had. Understanding became more important than winning. When that happens, love becomes stronger than pride. There is one more truth many people overlook. Confidence grows where acceptance exists. When a woman feels accepted, not for perfection, but for who she truly is, she often becomes more relaxed, expressive, and emotionally open. She no longer feels she must constantly meet impossible standards or hide every insecurity. Acceptance does not mean ignoring personal growth. It means loving someone while they continue growing. That is one of the greatest gifts any partner can offer. As years pass, beauty naturally changes. Youth eventually fades. Life leaves its marks on every face and every body. But kindness has a remarkable quality. It becomes more beautiful with time. Respect becomes more attractive with time. Loyalty becomes more valuable with time. Emotional safety becomes more precious with time. When these qualities exist, intimacy becomes far more than a physical experience. It becomes a language of trust. It becomes a place where two people can lay down the burdens they carry before facing another day together. And perhaps that is what so many women secretly hope for. Not perfection, not grand gestures every week, but the quiet confidence that they are deeply valued, fully respected, and genuinely cherished by the person standing beside them. There is another story that has stayed with me throughout my years of meeting couples from every stage of life. An elderly woman, well into her 70s, once smiled as she held her husband's hand while waiting for an appointment. They had been married for more than 50 years. Their faces carried the gentle marks of time, but there was a warmth between them that many younger couples struggle to find. I asked them what had kept their relationship so strong. The husband looked at his wife before answering. He didn't rush to speak. Instead, he smiled with the same admiration one might expect from a newly married man. Then he quietly said, "I never stopped courting her." The room became silent. His words were simple, yet they carried decades of wisdom. Many people believe romance belongs only to the early years of a relationship. They assume that once marriage settles into routine, expressions of affection naturally disappear. But love was never designed to survive on memories alone. It needs new moments, new laughter, new conversations, new reasons to smile together. One of the deepest desires many women quietly carry is the hope that emotional and physical closeness never becomes something taken for granted. No one wants to feel like yesterday's excitement has become today's obligation. Every human heart longs to feel chosen, not just once, but again and again. Choosing your partner every day is one of the most beautiful decisions a person can make. That choice appears in ordinary moments. It appears when you sit together after a long day instead of disappearing into separate rooms. It appears when you reach for their hand during a walk. It appears when you remember something they mentioned weeks ago because you genuinely listened. These gestures may seem small to the outside world. Inside a relationship, they become powerful reminders of love. I once spoke with a woman who described the happiest moment of her week. It wasn't an anniversary. It wasn't a holiday. It wasn't an expensive dinner. Every Saturday morning, her husband prepared coffee for both of them. Then they sat quietly on their porch watching the sunrise. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. She told me those peaceful mornings reminded her that even after decades together, they were still making time for one another. That is something many couples unintentionally lose. Time. Not because they stop loving each other, because life becomes noisy. Phones demand attention. Television fills silence. Work follows people home. Social media quietly steals moments that once belonged to family. Before long, two people may spend an entire evening in the same house while barely sharing a meaningful conversation. Physical distance is not always measured in miles. Sometimes it exists across the same sofa. Many women silently hope their partners will protect their shared time. Not because they need constant attention, because attention communicates importance. Where attention goes, relationships grow. Where attention disappears, misunderstandings quietly begin. Think of a fireplace. If no one adds wood, the flames slowly fade. Not because the fire was weak, because it was never fed. Love follows the same principle. It survives through consistent care. Another lesson deserves our attention. Many women appreciate a partner who is willing to continue learning. Some people mistakenly believe they already know everything about the person they married. But human beings continue changing throughout life. The woman you meet at 25 is not the same woman at 45. She carries new dreams, new fears, new experiences, new wisdom, new challenges. If a partner stops being curious, emotional distance can slowly appear. Curiosity keeps relationships alive. Ask meaningful questions. What made you smile today? What has been worrying you lately? What dream have you never shared with me? Simple questions often open doors to extraordinary conversations. One husband decided to ask his wife one thoughtful question every evening for an entire month. At first, the conversations lasted only a few minutes. Soon they stretched into hours. They laughed about old memories. They shared forgotten dreams. They admitted fears they had hidden for years. He later told me, "Doctor, I thought I knew my wife completely. Instead, I discovered there was still so much more to admire." Imagine giving someone the beautiful feeling that they can continue growing without fear of being judged. That feeling creates remarkable closeness. There is another quiet desire that many women rarely express. They want affection without conditions, not because they expect constant romance, but because they want to know that tenderness exists beyond special occasions. A gentle hug, a warm smile, holding hands while walking, sitting close during an ordinary evening. These moments remind someone they are loved even when nothing extraordinary is happening. Love should not appear only during celebrations. It should quietly exist within ordinary days. One couple developed a simple tradition. Before leaving the house every morning, regardless of how busy they were, they embraced for 20 seconds. Not 2, not 5, 20 seconds. At first, it seemed insignificant. Months later, they noticed something remarkable. Arguments became less frequent. Stress felt lighter. They missed each other more during the day. Why? Because genuine affection has a calming effect on the human mind. It reminds us that we are not facing life's challenges alone. Another important lesson involves respect. Respect is attractive, not only in public, especially in private. Many relationships suffer because criticism slowly replaces appreciation. Small jokes become painful. Sarcasm becomes routine. Embarrassing comments are dismissed as humor. Yet words have extraordinary power. A sentence spoken in anger may remain in someone's heart for years. Likewise, one sincere expression of gratitude may also remain for years. Every conversation offers a choice. Will these words build trust or slowly weaken it? The answer shapes the future of the relationship. One man confessed something that deeply moved me. He realized he thanked strangers more often than he thanked his own wife. He thanked waiters. He thanked coworkers. He thanked neighbors. Yet he rarely acknowledged the countless things his wife quietly did every day. That realization humbled him. He began expressing appreciation regularly, not dramatically, simply and sincerely. "I noticed. Thank you. I appreciate everything you do." Those words cost nothing. Yet they transformed the atmosphere inside their home. Gratitude has a remarkable way of making people feel valued, and feeling valued naturally strengthens emotional connection. There is another truth we must never ignore. No relationship escapes difficult seasons. Illness comes, financial hardship appears, children leave home, parents pass away, dreams change, disappointments happen. During these moments, many women quietly hope for one thing above all else: a partner who remains emotionally present, not someone with perfect solutions, simply someone willing to stay, to listen, to comfort, to remind them they are not carrying life's burdens alone. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is quietly sit beside someone they love and say, "We'll get through this together." Those words create hope. Hope creates resilience. Resilience strengthens love. As I reflect on the hundreds of conversations I've had over the years, one lesson appears again and again. The happiest couples are rarely those who never face problems. They are the ones who continue choosing compassion over pride, patience over frustration, understanding over assumptions, and kindness over criticism. That choice does not happen once. It happens every single day. It happens in ordinary conversations. It happens during disagreements. It happens through forgiveness. It happens through respect. And perhaps that is one of the greatest secrets of lasting intimacy. It is never built by perfect people. It is built by imperfect people who refuse to stop caring for one another, even when life becomes difficult. Because in the end, what many women quietly hope for is not someone who can read every thought or fulfill every wish. They hope for someone who genuinely wants to understand them, continues showing up with love, and never allows familiarity to replace appreciation. That is the kind of connection that grows stronger with every passing year.